Welcome to the Fractured Families podcast. I'm Charity, your dedicated parental alienation coach, here to guide and support families as they navigate the challenges of high conflict divorces and custody battles. On this podcast, we'll share insights, practical strategies, and hope for those on the journey toward healing and justice. Whether you're personally experiencing these challenges or just want to learn more about the complexities of parental alienation and custody disputes, you're in the right place. You are not alone. This is the Fractured Families podcast, where every voice matters and every story is heard. And if you find my conversation helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Your support helps us reach more families who need it. Hi, I'm Charity, your guest. I'm Charity, your host with the Fractured Families podcast. I have with me today Terry from Alabama. He's going to share his story of alienation from his 9-year-old daughter and how the mother of his 9-year-old daughter used his middle son as a scapegoat. He is currently trying to get time with his daughter. So, Terry, thanks for joining the podcast. And why don't you get us started with what the relationship was like with the mother of your daughter?
Well, starting out with her, I thought to me, it went great. All right. Everything we worked together, especially, with my son and, teaching him a lot of things that he needed and helping him out with schoolwork. And I didn't think anything of it. I mean, I'm thinking, hey, this is maybe the person I could stay long term. Okay. And I mean, we had, of course, life challenges and stuff. And yeah, we worked together on that. And, I'm like, hey, this is perfect. All right. It went smooth throughout the entire relationship. And yeah, like I said, we had our ups and downs. And so as the relationship kept on going, all of a sudden, she went with this one. She actually asked me about going seeing her friend. And her friend, they've been friends ever since through high school. And I didn't see any problem with that. And so she went over to her friend's house and stayed there for a week. And all of a sudden that week went to 2 weeks. And so I called her and I'm like, I said, is there anything wrong? And I said, are you going to be coming home? And she goes, yeah, I will, here probably next weekend. And I'm like, at that moment in time, I didn't think anything of it. But now I look at it now and kept on replaying back in the past. There were several red flags there, and I didn't catch it because I was all into the relationship and wasn't really expecting to have another child, but it happened. I think it was during the winter time that we moved out to another town called Cordova and found out that she was pregnant and found out it was my daughter. And that relationship at that moment in time was doing good, and I didn't think anything of it. I just kept on working like a father should, and just kept on going. That way, I worked in a lot of overtime and just kept on going from there.
How old was your daughter when she left for that period of time?
At that moment in time when she left, my daughter wasn't born at that
Okay,
time
got it.
because we
Okay.
lived in a town called Warrior. By the time we moved into Cordova, that's when I think we was there. I'd say about 3.5 years living out there in an apartment, and found out she was pregnant, and I'm like, okay, I'm really excited, but I wasn't sure it was going to be a boy or a girl, and so we found out through a sonogram, and that was a little girl, and I saw it on the flat screen TV in the little room. Oh, I couldn't stop smiling. I was just like, oh, I was really happy about it, and I already knew what I needed to do. I need to buckle down and start putting in some overtime and to be able to support my family at that time, and also make sure I'm going to be there for her, because I was all about having my little girl.
So you had your daughter, and what was the relationship like with you and your daughter?
Oh, it was, oh gosh, I would say almost, I would say, I wouldn't say fairy tale, but I would say me and her bonded. I mean, she got really close to me, and pretty much is like mama's little boy and daddy's little girl. She was definitely textbook version of daddy's little girl. Every time I came home and stuff, she would actually run to me and just say, "Daddy," and wrap around my leg and everything. That made me feel so good. And sorry, and I enjoyed every minute of it. And
It's okay.
But anyway, I didn't think anything of it.
So,
And
so you have your daughter, and obviously you and your daughter have a great relationship. How
yes.
did how did the relationship, or did it change with you and your daughter's mother? What did you see change at that point?
Well, one thing I seen change was her mother's behavior towards me. It was she started instead of talking to me almost like respectfully, it started becoming a little bit like demanding, like, well, you're going to do this, or blaming me for something that I hadn't done yet, but yet she
Mhm.
done it. And
Yeah.
I was just like, I tell her, I said, hey, that's not how it happened. And I'm like, yeah, we argued about it. And then finally it got to a point to where I was just like, hey, we need to stop right now and cool off. And done that several times. And it didn't, her behavior changed when she started seeing her new friends. And I found out that she started doing the little THC gummies and, pretty much smoking weed with them. And that's when the actual bad behavior started coming into play right there. And I'm like, well, I can deal with it, make sure that my daughter is okay and everything else. And that's what mattered to me. I'm thinking, well, her mom's going to snap out of it. That didn't happen, and I could see it affecting my daughter a little bit emotionally, and so I
Mhm.
try to help her get her mind off of it and doing other things, taking her outside on a trampoline or so, or let her draw. I mean, she is a really good at drawing and stuff. So,
So tell us a little bit about the relationship with your daughter's mother and your middle son. How was that relationship?
well, when my daughter's mother was dealing with my middle son, she would be raising her voice to him about doing certain tasks instead of just
Mhm.
calmly lining it out. Was she was like yelling and stuff. No, yelling like, no, that's not right. That's not right. I already showed you multiple times and stuff. Now, my middle son, now a little bit of backstory on him. He was
Mhm.
diagnosed having ADHD and being bipolar. So, yeah, you can show, someone can show them something, but if they don't have their hands physically on it, they're not going to pick it up quickly. And I've been trying to tell her and educate her about it, and it was like fell on deaf ears. So every time she tried to have him do something, it was yelling or just get away, I'll do it. And it really frustrated him. I could see it, how he got really mad about it and just walked off. And me and him would talk about it in his room. And so after I talked to him, I would talk to her, and she would chalk it up that I'm making excuses for him. And that's not the case. He learns on a way different wavelength, and I understand that. But yet, I tried to explain it to her, and she didn't want to do it.
So how old was he when your daughter was born?
I would say he's 21 now. She's now 10. I'm gonna say he was in the
About 11?
I think 10, yeah, 10 or 11 years old, somewhere around there.
And how was their relationship as siblings?
Oh, he loved his little sister, and I have pictures of him sitting on the couch holding her, and he was just really ecstatic, all smiles and everything. And I even done this when I put my daughter in his arms. I showed him the correct way and holding her, and I'm like, okay, I just made a bottle. It was time to feed her. So I sat down beside him and I said, this is how you hold the bottle. He
Mhm.
held it and fed her, and I watched every bit of it, and he loved it. He loved being a part of, feeding her. I tried to see if he can help me out in changing her. That didn't go so well. He didn't like that. He just liked the feeding part of it, which I can understand that. Yeah, I mean, their relationship, I'd say they were pretty close and stuff. And Travis, my son Travis, okay, developed a protective nature over his little sister. He
Mhm.
would make sure that she was safe if they were out there in the yard or in everything. I mean, that's what a big brother does to a little sister or a little brother. You make sure, hey, they're safe with me, and that's
Yep.
how he was.
So let's talk about the separation. You have your daughter, you both have your son in the household, and then the relationship starts to unravel. What was that like? And then how do we get from that to where we're at today?
Well, during the whole separation. This happened November 27th. Before, actually maybe the day before Thanksgiving or so, or somewhere close to it.
And your
And
daughter was how old at that time? 9?
9 years old, yes. And it it got really. She started blind during the whole separation part. How it started was my middle son. We left him here at home. He was old enough to be home by himself. Was hanging out with her friends. They used to be my friends, but not anymore. He was texting some people, talking to them, and he put off in a text like, "Hey, why don't you come over to my house, and we'll have a good time." And geolocated my house. And by the time we got back, my daughter's mother walked up to him and took his phone. Well, at that time, he's 20 years old. He's of age, and I think that I'm going to backtrack. She showed me, didn't show me the phone, but she saw it and saw a picture. And she's saying it was of some old man naked or something. I didn't see it, and I'm like, well, I'm taken up with her, because we've been together for so long. And I'm like, okay, she's all freaking out on me. And so I'm like, let me deal with it. Let me talk to my son. So be it. And he admitted that he geolocated the the house. And I'm like, do you know these people? And he's like, no. And I said, you invited him over to the house? And he goes, yes, sir. And I said, okay. And of course, I had his phone turned off and everything. And she grabs some of her stuff and says, well, the house is not safe. We're going to go ahead and go over to my friend's house. I'm like, okay. I told her, I said, I know what to do. I said, by the time everything's all done, I said, it'd be safe for y'all to come back. And she goes, okay. So I couldn't take my son back over to the school that he goes to. And because of it being the holidays, the school was closed. I'm like, okay. I made plans to go over to where she was at for Thanksgiving. And I told him, I said, you stay here and I'll bring you back, some food. And so I went over there, had Thanksgiving with them, but the whole thing just felt weird. Everything was off. Everyone, it felt like everyone had their eyes on me, like I did something horribly wrong. Well, I didn't, but I didn't. I blew it off. Already knew, I had some suspicion what was going on, and I saw my daughter, and I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to worry about it. I'm not going to call anyone on the table about it. I'm there for her. And so as soon as I finished eating, I went outside and played with her for a brief period. And then when I came back inside, her mother looked at me and she goes, I thought you was going to leave. And I said, for what? So I'm spending time with our daughter. And she goes, well, you spend enough time, you need to go. And I'm like, really? And so I didn't want to cause a big argument in front of everyone. So I, looked at my daughter and I said, I'm going to leave. And I said, I'll give you a call. And I said, so we can video chat. And she goes, all right, all excited about it. And so when I got home, I tried to video chat and nothing happened. And I called my daughter's mother's phone and she goes, well, she's outside playing. Well, I let her know that I'm on the phone. I said, I bet you 5 to 1 she wants to video chat with me. Well, I'm not going to walk out there and take her from playing with her friends. That wouldn't be right. And I'm like, I told her, I said, what you're doing is not right. So that was the start of it right there. And it was just gradually, I constantly had to fight to, talk to her, and I was just getting frustrated.
So that was around Thanksgiving, and have
Mhm.
you spoken to her? I mean, do you get to chance to speak to her and see her now, or are you still no contact?
No contact whatsoever. And I found out, that she moved to a new place, but still within close range of her new friends. And I asked her one time when I met up with her, asked her what her new address was, and she goes, well, I'm not going to disclose it out of safety reasons. And I looked at her and I said, you thinking I'm a threat? I'm no near a threat. I said, we agreed on when you get to your new place that I could be able to see, our daughter and everything. And I said, what's changed now? And she wouldn't answer me. And I'm just like, I kind of looked off at the distance and kind of shook my head. And I looked at her. I said, this is not right. I said, you're keeping it from me. And she looked at me and she goes, no, I'm not. And I brought up the phone calls and stuff, and when I mean, I wish you could see her facial expression. It just like a deer in the headlights stare, like totally zoned me out. Didn't want to hear what I have to say, and that was really frustrating. She was trying to trigger me to, start yelling at her to where she could use that as I'm a threat or so, and I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that in front of no one, and because I want custody of my daughter. I mean, so
So you don't have any phone contact at all at either?
no, no phone calls. I try to call my daughter's mother's phone. Either she got me blocked or ignoring my phone calls. And the cell phone that my daughter was using, same thing. It goes directly to voicemail when I call it. So if when she's not using it, and since she's not using it whatsoever, I called my cell phone provider and forwarded all incoming calls to my phone.
Mm-hmm.
And so after that, I'm still Uh, I'm not giving up hope on it. I mean, one way or another, I'll have contact with her. I mean,
So, so is there any custody, or are you? I guess she has legal counsel, right?
yes, according to when I started researching all of this, according to Alabama state law, especially for unmarried couples, that when the child is born, even though the child is 100% biologically the father's, at birth, the mother has sole custody. The father has no parental rights whatsoever until paternity is established. And I can understand that when all of a sudden you get some guy that's what I call a player. I can understand that. I'm not like that. I'm a father
Yeah.
that's all about his kids and want to be in my
Hmm.
kids' life. And when I know what that child is 100% mine, to me that law is pretty much a flat out attack against, questioning me being a father, and I don't like that. I don't like that whatsoever. And so I wish it would change to where that if the father knows that that child is 100% there, 100% theirs, then if the mother separate, goes about her own way, it should be 50-50 or so, unless the mother is not really all there or so. But a guy like me, I think, should have some kind of contact with their kid, because I'm a firm believer a child, even though they're separated, should have a mother and father in their lives,
Hmm.
regardless.
Okay,
So,
so
and
so you took the paternity test, and is that something her lawyer wanted you to do? And do you have representation now, or are you representing yourself?
I've been looking for legal counsel
Okay.
and stuff, and I think her attorney persuaded her in starting the paternity test. I'm all for it. I don't have
Hmm.
nothing to hide on that.
Yeah.
Okay. But such as me, I've been looking around, such as Legal Services of Alabama and
Hmm.
everything. It was one roadblock after the other. So that encouraged me of doing the research, look into Alabama state law, for unwed married fathers, and raising a lot of questions with the county clerk's office, and I found out a lot. And the way when I was had that summons, not summons, was ordered to take the paternity test, I still have the paperwork. The way it
Hmm.
was worded, that either I sign the acknowledgement of paternity, and then from there I wouldn't have to be in front of a judge or anything, or I don't sign it, and then there would be a hearing, and then I had to be appear in front of a judge. Well, if I signed the acknowledgement, the way it was worded, that okay, yeah, she's 100% mine, all right,
Hmm.
but that does not establish my parental rights. Then meaning I will have to go back to court to get that established. And I'm like, okay, I'm not waiving my rights in front of a judge. I'm going to exercise my God-given rights
Hmm.
and appear in front of the judge.
Hmm.
And from what I was told, that everything's going to be from okay, established paternity, then child support, and then custody, all rolled into one case.
Okay.
And I'm like, perfect,
Yeah.
And so, no luck on an attorney. I've already petitioned the court for financial hardship
Yep.
already, to see if they'll appoint me an attorney. If
Hmm.
not, then I got all the information I need to represent myself, and I'm just crossing my fingers and hopefully either I get custody If not, then I'm hoping for the other part of it is, joint custody. And if I can get joint custody, that's even better because at least I have a say,
Yeah.
over her and how she doing in school. And I'm like, hey, as long as I have those parental rights, that's fine with me. So,
So obviously, this is emotionally challenging. I mean, your daughter that you've been raising for 9 years is just literally ripped away overnight.
yes.
How is your middle son handling this? I mean, he sounded like he had a close relationship with her as well.
Yes. When all of this corresponded, I was, me and my middle son, we in constant contact. So he expressed his feelings about it. And one part of it was he was really, really mad. I mean, almost furious. And I looked at him, I said, I know how you feel because I'm the same way. But
Yeah.
you have to handle it responsibly, your emotions a little bit. I said, we sit down here and talk about it and just get it off our chest and then move on. And then I
Mhm.
said, everything rests on my shoulders. I said, I understand your feelings. I said, but the rest of it, the large percentage of it is on my shoulders. I said, one way or another, I said, you'll get to see your sister. And
So how are you handling this? What are you doing for yourself? I mean, it's got to be so traumatic.
yes, it is, both emotionally and pretty much mentally and emotion. I mean,
Mhm.
it's just sometimes it gets overwhelming. And then there's at times that, I keep myself busy a lot, so I won't be driving myself nuts about what's coming up. I did as much as I can, but I'm still doing ongoing research about how I can present this case and be proven into my favor, or if not in my favor, to where reach some middle ground. But
Right.
but yeah, every now and then I kind of catch myself when I have downtime, thinking about the whole situation, how it went down, and wondering if she's okay, or is she safe, or did she get hurt? All of that just
Yeah.
plays in my and
Do you even know what
it gets.
school she goes to?
Yeah, I know which school that she goes to. I actually found that out on my own,
Okay.
but yet I hadn't been to that school for the sheer fact that I'm not sure what her mother and her little friend had said to the school, saying if I'm a threat or
Right.
anything. And I'm just like, I'm being painted as a picture as a being some kind of monster, overbearing, that I treated my daughter's mother like she was stupid, and that wasn't the case. But that's the picture that she, actually, her and her friends have painted
Mhm.
right there.
Mhm.
And I was just like, well, there's nothing I can do except show through action that I'm there for my daughter. I'm not there for, not for my daughter's mother. No, I mean, I'm there for my daughter. I'm there to, be there for her emotionally and everything.
So she's basically making you out to be this bad guy who's not fair throughout the relationship. Did the mother of your daughter work during the relationship?
No, she was on disability, and then after a while, as she bragged about taking on a job, after that, and which was a part-time job that doesn't pay that well. And so she even, when she came by to my house to grab the rest of her stuff or her property,
Mhm.
she even bragged about it outside when I was actually videotaping the whole thing, how her behavior towards me was and everything.
Mhm.
And thank goodness my daughter wasn't she didn't bring my daughter. I was
Yeah.
glad about that. But she bragged about having multiple jobs. And while being on SF, you can't really have a full-time job
Mhm.
and collect disability like that.
Mhm.
But she bragged about it. And I'm just like, that's on you, not me. And you deal with the Social Security Administration. But I was just filming how her behavior was every time she walked in and out of the house. And I still got the video as of today and stuff. I've been documenting everything
Mhm.
on this. And I got like screenshots of text messages, audio, phone call recordings. And here, I think here in Alabama, such as phone call recordings, only one person needs to know that
Yeah.
the call is being recorded, and that's
Mhm.
me.
Mhm.
So I got phone call recordings and being verbally attacked, and I didn't even instigate it. The only thing I wanted was, and I want to talk to to my daughter, and that's what apparently that's their trigger.
So when was the last time you communicated with the mother of your daughter to try to speak with your daughter?
The last time was back in close to the last half of May. Actually, I talked to her and arranged to meet her where she worked
Sure.
or where she works, and she told me that our daughter's gonna be there. Okay, hey, that's perfect. I was really stoked up about it, and I'm like, okay. So I went down there and I saw her and spent some time. But how, instead of spending one-on-one time, her mother was right here, I mean right next to us, and listening in to mine and my daughter's conversation, just pretty much just right there being nosy.
Mhm.
And I'm acting like I'm going to kidnap her and stuff. That's not going to happen. I just want to be there and talk to her and spend one-on-one. And I couldn't spend that one-on-one time because she was right next to me, and so I had to pick my words carefully. I wanted
Mhm.
to ask her, how you feel about the whole situation and stuff, and I
Yeah.
couldn't raise that question. And so that's that was the last time I've seen her, was out where her mom's work, and I got a picture of us being together, and then that's it.
So when you saw your daughter for the first time in that period of time, how did she act? So was she different in the beginning, or what was that initial connection like?
Well, when she saw me, she came up running and saying "Daddy" and
Mm.
gave me a big old hug, and she looked very excited to see me. But
Mhm.
I had a strange feeling. I noticed that she kind of changed a little bit. So
Mhm.
I've seen her facial expression and stuff. And like I said, her mom, it was right. We're sitting at a table, and she was
Yeah.
right there. And every time she looked at her mom, she stopped smiling and stuff. And I'm like, I've seen that look in a couple of kids before, and it was that resentment type look. And I was just like, yeah, there's really nothing I can do or say without her mom twisting it around and using it against me. So I was just like, I get her mind off, my daughter's mind off of it, and we talk about different things, about her drawings or about school and everything else. But also watching her facial expression each and every time it changed to a resented look towards your mother, and then a happy-go-lucky face towards me.
Mm.
And I was just like, yeah, uh, I'm gonna try my best, one way or another.
So do you have a court date to go in front of the judge?
Yes, I did. It's July 3rd. I had
Okay.
to go in front of go to the Talladega courthouse, Talladega County Courthouse. That's where she resides at, the county that she resides at, and so that's where I have to go. It's from where I live. It's actually about less than 30 minutes, so no big deal. Hopefully, fingers crossed, I have an attorney.
Yeah. But your paternity test results will be back. Is there any chance that during that hearing, the judge will make some parenting time plans for the two of you, or is that going to come later on, do you believe?
I believe that would come right during the whole hearing.
Okay.
From what I was told, that he will tell the results of the paternity test and then
Mhm.
set a set amount for child support for me, and then the custody and visitation, everything just all rolled into one. So I'm like, that'd be perfect, and especially with visitations, because my daughter's mother, even with her attitude or her whole behavior, just strikes as that she's not going to go by the court order once it's
Yeah.
established.
Right.
So I've already got a contingency plan for that too. And I don't want to have to use it, but if I have
Yeah.
to and my hands forced to it, I will. Because that little girl don't deserve what she's being put through right now.
Right. Yeah. Terry, any final thoughts? Anything you want to share for our listeners?
Well, there's a couple of places online as well. One's called Tough, the Unmarried Father,
Mhm.
and then Papa. Those are the two I've been on myself, and I highly recommend it to fathers that, like me, are going
Mhm.
through what I'm going through. There's other folks, other fathers out there that's going through it. One of them been going through 8.5 years of trying to see their kid, and so that definitely helps out a lot.
And from a legal perspective, what are you using to learn how to be pro se? Or is there any specific course you're using, or do you need some support with that?
Well, there is a course, but I can't afford it. So what I do is I actually been in contact with an attorney, and explain, hey, this is what I got. This is how I answered a summons that my daughter's mother's attorney sent me, and I never
Mhm.
answered a summons in my life. And so
Yeah.
we go through that, and he tells me, hey, I'm on a good track. I did everything, accordingly, like
Mhm.
what an attorney would do, and I'm
Yeah.
like, good. I got some
Good.
validation on it.
Good. Well, I'm gonna be posting a podcast in the next couple of weeks, but in the short term, why don't you take some time and go to the Law Center on YouTube or thelawcenter.net. Lawrence DeMarco, he's an attorney that does help parents going through alienation to become very versed in putting together motions and better understanding the situation in family court. The Law Center is the name of it. You can find it on YouTube. He does offer a paid boot camp, but he also offers a no charge, complete postings regularly on how to be a pro se in family court. So I would
Okay.
definitely recommend you check that out.
All right, definitely I will. And yeah, it's ongoing research. I mean, I've learned
Yeah,
a lot, definitely.
good. Well, Terry, thank you so much. And by the way, I know today is Father's Day. We won't air on Father's Day, but happy Father's Day.
Well, thank you very much. I really appreciate that. And thank you for having me on here.
Okay. All right. Thanks so much.
All right, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
Thank you for joining me on this episode of the Fractured Families podcast. I hope our conversation has provided you with support, understanding, and actionable insights to help you navigate your own family challenges. Remember, healing is a journey, and reaching out for help is a sign of strength. You're not alone. If you found value in today's episode, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your support helps us reach more families in need. You can contact me on social media at Parental Alienation is Real and visit our website for additional resources and ways to get involved. Stay strong, stay connected, and keep fighting for the family bonds that matter most. Until next time, take care and stay resilient.